Hey everybody, Taylor here from Ciao Bella Sewing. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make your very own pair of pajama pants. I think you guys are going to love this tutorial, so stay tuned and happy sewing. These are the supplies that you will need to make your pajama pants. I have my pre-cut pieces of fabric, and I did use a pattern to cut the fabric. I have scissors, pins, my tape measure, elastic, a safety pin, and of course, my sewing machine. Now, let's get started. Okay, so as you guys can see, I took my fabric pieces and I folded them in half so the right sides of the fabric are touching each other. If you guys look carefully here, you guys will see that the right sides of the fabric are the side that's a little bit more vibrant and colorful. So that's a good indicator. So how you can recognize what's the right side of the fabric compared to the wrong side. So if you guys look over here, I have already pinned from the inseam straight down until the ankle. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this step for this pant leg. So I'm just going to go ahead, I start from the inseam, making sure that that part is nicely lined up. And I'm going to go ahead and just continue to add pins straight down. I'm going to add pins every 3 to 4 inches or so. Now that I have my 2 pant legs pinned from the inseam to the ankle, I'm going to go ahead and sew both of these pieces. Okay, and now that both of our pant legs are pinned, we're going to go ahead and start sewing. When we sew, we're going to follow the standard 5/8 seam allowance, and we're going to start sewing from the inseam, and we're going to sew straight down to the ankle. I'm going to go ahead and place my fabric into my machine, making sure that the edge of my fabric is in line with that 5/8 seam allowance. I'm going to lower my presser foot, and I'm going to reverse when I start sewing at the very top, and when I finally finish at the bottom by the ankle, I'm going to go ahead and reverse again to make sure that my stitches are nice and secure. Once you sew this pant leg, you're going to go ahead and repeat this exact same step for the other pant leg as well. Let's get sewing. You can take out your pins as you go. So again, I'm following that 5/8 seam allowance the entire time as I'm sewing. Gonna reverse, and then I can go ahead and cut my threads. Perfect. Okay, now that both of our pant legs are nicely sewn, we're gonna go ahead and take one of our pant legs, and we're actually gonna turn it right side out. So go ahead from the top, just put your hand inside the pant leg, grab the bottom, and pull it right side out. So now if you guys look at this, you'll notice that the seam that looks really nice, this is a part you just sewed, this is the seam, you cannot see it anymore. So this is starting to look like a very nice pant leg. But this shape right here is the shape of a U, so keep that in mind for our next step. So what I'm gonna do is take my pant leg that's turned inside out still. So this means that you can still see the seam, okay? And I'm actually going to take the pant leg that's right side out, and I'm gonna put it into the pant leg that's turned wrong side out. So you guys can see I'm just pushing this in, and now from the top I'm going to go ahead and grab the fabric again, making sure that I can still see that U shape, and I'm kind of just going to shake it out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and keep pushing this down. Okay, so this is looking great. So I'm going to go ahead right here in the middle, I'm going to match up my seams. So this is really important that you start from the middle and match up your seams as you're sewing and as you're pinning. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my pins, and I'm going to pin this part. I like to open up both of the flaps on each side so they're nice and flat. And then once I have this part pinned right here in the middle, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna continue pinning again in the shape of the U, okay? But I have to make sure that all of my edges are really nice and even. So that is super important for this step, that you have nice and even edges. So again, you're just gonna go ahead, pin this U shape. You can add a couple more pins than you're used to adding to make sure that this part stays nice and secure. Great. So again, you just follow the U shape. So I have this side nicely pinned, and then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the exact same steps for this side. And once I'm done pinning, you guys will really be able to see that it's in the shape of a U. Okay, perfect. So now you guys can see right here that this looks like a very nice U shape, right? So now we're actually gonna sew this, okay? From here, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sew that U shape. But before we do that, you're gonna wanna actually remove this part of your sewing machine. You just slide it off and you can move it off to the side. This way, as you're sewing the U, you're gonna have room for your fabric to actually slide underneath the sewing machine, and this will make it much easier for you guys as you're sewing. So again, we start from the left side of the U. When you're looking at it, it's the left side. I'm gonna go ahead and follow the standard 5/8 seam allowance. Perfect. I'm gonna lower my lever, making sure to reverse when I first start and when I finally finish sewing, so your stitches are nice and secure. Now, sewing the U shape can seem challenging, but I promise you, as long as you follow that standard 5/8 seam allowance the entire time, you will have no problem sewing this U shape. Let's get sewing. Again, just follow that standard 5/8 seam allowance. You might need to do some adjusting with your fabric, so it's okay if you go ahead and kind of put it off to the side of your sewing machine. So again, you'll have to adjust your fabric, kind of moving it as you go. This is the very middle of the U shape, so I'm going to hold down my seams because I wanted to sew those nice and flat. Okay, perfect. This is looking great. So I just reverse, and I'm gonna clip my thread, pick up my lever, and pull my fabric out. Okay, so I'm so happy with how this looks. I'm actually gonna go ahead and pull the pant legs apart from each other. So now you guys can see that they're really starting to look like pants. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how to do the casing for the elastic. And soon enough, we're gonna turn these cute pants right side out and you are going to love them. Now that our pants are sewn together, we're gonna go ahead and do the casing for the elastic. We're gonna take the very top of the pants, we're gonna fold it over approximately 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is a great measurement for the top casing because the elastic that we're using is 1 inch wide. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my tape measure and make sure that this is about 1.5 inches. Okay, that is looking great. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pins, and I'm actually going to start pinning all the way around. When you're pinning, make sure that you only pin the top area together And then go ahead and do the bottom as well, okay? So it is really important that you have a lot of pins throughout, but just again, make sure that you've got the top 2 layers. And then you can go ahead, once the top is pinned, you can fold it over and you guys can do the other side as well. So sometimes it's helpful if you take your pants and you completely flip them. Again, just make sure that you are following that 1.5 measurement. Perfect. Okay, this is looking so good. So I'm going to keep adding my pins. Okay, now it's time to sew the casing. So I always like to start right here by one of the seams, and I go ahead and tuck my fabric underneath my presser foot. And I'm going to go ahead and lower my lever. Before I start sewing, I'm actually going to take another pin, and behind my presser foot, I'm going to go ahead and add a double pin right here so I know where to stop sewing. It's very important that you leave a little opening, so after we sew this part, we can go ahead and actually use the opening to insert our elastic into that opening, and then that way these pants are going to have a nice elastic waistband. When we sew this part, it's important that we actually don't follow that standard 5/8 seam allowance right now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sew on the bottom part of the fold. Again, if you sew in the middle, you won't have any room for your elastic, so you have to sew on the bottom part of the fold. Let's get started. So now I'm about halfway through, so I'm gonna start to look for those 2 double pins. I know that I have a little bit more to sew, but again, just keep an eye out for them. Okay, so here are my 2 double pins. I'm gonna sew to the 2 pins, and I'm gonna stop and reverse. Perfect. Cut my threads, pick up my lever and pull this out. Now, right here, there is a gap. So this is perfect, and we're gonna go ahead and insert our elastic into this gap. Take out my pins, grab your elastic. I already have the safety pin attached, and this is a really great skill to know how to do in sewing. So you take the top of the safety pin, put it into the hole, and then you're gonna go ahead and just hold the back of the safety pin and bunch the fabric onto the top of the safety pin and pull the fabric back, okay? Making sure to hold onto that safety pin still. So you're just gonna keep doing this until you get all the way to the opening. So you're gonna go all the way around. And then once you do this step, you're gonna take your 2 safety pins, or your safety pin, your 2 edges of your elastic, and you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna safety pin the elastic together. Okay, this is looking great. So again, I'm making sure that I don't lose this other end of the elastic. Perfect. So now that I'm just about at the opening, I take the safety pin out, and then I'm going to go ahead and safety pin the edges together. And then you can try on your pants to make sure that they fit you before you sew your elastic together. Perfect. So again, these are really starting to look like pants. They're looking super cute. Make sure your elastic is not twisted inside of there. And then this is where you're gonna go try them on and make sure you like the way that they fit your waist. You can make them tighter if you wish. Now that we've tried our pants on and we like the way the elastic fits, we're actually gonna sew our elastic together. I put both layers of the elastic into the sewing machine, and I'm gonna sew forwards and backwards several times to make sure that it's nice and secure. Perfect. I'm gonna cut my threads, pick up my lever. You can go ahead and cut any loose threads that you may see. And then I'm actually gonna go ahead and kind of stretch the pants like this, and I'm gonna sew this little hole closed, okay? So that's the hole that we had from the elastic, so we left that open on purpose. I lower my lever, making sure that I'm in the same spot as my previous stitches. I'm going to reverse right here, and then when I get to my other stitches, I'm going to reverse as well. Okay, these are looking so good. We have the entire waistband sewn. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to hem the bottoms. Then we're gonna turn these pants right side out, and you will be able to wear them and enjoy them. Now, you're almost finished with your pants. You just need to hem the bottoms. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold up the bottom of this pant leg 1 inch. I've already tried these on, so I know that 1 inch is going to be a great hem for me for these pants. So I'm just gonna make sure to measure it. Perfect, and then I'm gonna take my pins and I'm gonna go ahead, pin through both layers of the fabric, making sure you do the front side and the back side of each pant leg. Once you pin the hem all the way around, you're gonna repeat this exact same step for the other side. Okay, perfect. So again, 1 inch hem for me, and then make sure to repeat it for the other side. Okay, now that each pant leg is folded over 1 inch, we're ready to sew. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the bottom of the pant leg, slide it into my machine. I'm gonna make sure that the edge of my fabric is in line with the left side of the edge of my presser foot. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sew in a complete circle, making sure to reverse. This is looking great. So I'm almost done sewing in a complete circle. I'm gonna try to match my stitches as best as I can, and then I'm gonna reverse. Cut my threads, perfect. I'm gonna pull this out and I'm gonna repeat for the other side. Now that each hem is completely sewn, we're gonna go ahead and flip these pants right side out. I cannot wait to show you guys what they're gonna look like. I think you will love them. So cute. So here we have a great waistband, elastic waistband, and if you guys look at the bottom, the hem also looks amazing too. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial and learning how to make a pair of pajama pants. Happy sewing. I encourage you guys to try this project on your own. Have a great day.